Today, September 26, 2022. This is a work session of Mayor and Council, and notice was given as follows. One, notice was filed April 27, 2022, with the Record and New York Star Ledger, both official newspapers of the borough. Two, notice was posted on the bulletin board and 3 copies preserved in the clerk's office. Tonight, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our councilperson, John Kim, and we'll have a moment of silence for the troops.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chang, here, Kim,
Here.
and Mr. Mayor, Councilperson Min will be absent from today's meeting.
Please have a motion to accept this.
Make a motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Park,
Yes.
Carrera, here. Petrie, Borough Attorney,
Here.
Borough Administrator, okay. On the agenda, we have the adoption of the previous month's minutes for August 29th, 2022. Consent agenda items 236 through 245. Off consent agenda 246 to 249. Second reading public hearing of ordinances 6 through 10. Council reports and public participation for the work session.
Dave, does 245 include asbestos? 240. That's the authorization for bids for mold.
No.
Are we gonna do that separately?
We have to, because we don't know the scope of it. We don't have
Okay. Is there a state contract for asbestos?
There is.
Oh, so then we don't,
There is, yeah, there are certain state vendors that are approved.
So maybe just verbally, the council should request Dave and Gina to get quotes for the asbestos removal.
Part of,
No, make it separate.
is that only in a small area, please?
We don't know. We know it's still in, but if they did, I mean, I guess.
So then they have to inspect the building.
That's what we don't want to do. But, yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm sure the building's got its floor. You know it's gonna be the floor top? Well, floor
so that's 250, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions from the council?
Actually, John, could I take out agenda -238 to off consent? Is that some questions?
Yeah, well, any item the council person wants removed, is removed off consent once they request it.
No, streets.
230?
230.
That's the street festival.
Yes, authorizing the chamber of commerce, the whole street festival.
So you want to table it?
No, I would like to put it on off consent.
Off consent.
As everyone can see, and going forward, off consent is anything that we feel that someone may have a conflict with, so there's no confusion. If it's on the consent, sometimes it gets lost in the title and people don't realize it. So moving forward, that's the way that it's recommended that it's done, so everybody takes a special look at it. It's off consent, not because everybody may not agree, but just because somebody or multiple people may have a conflict.
We'll have to discuss it, so I'm gonna put it on consent. I have some questions.
Well, not only because they have to be discussed, I'm talking about anything that a council person may have a conflict with is going to be listed off the consent agenda. So everybody realizes who may have the conflict that maybe they shouldn't be participating.
Understood.
So anyone on the council have any questions regards to anything on consent agenda, off consent, or the ordinances? Before we move to the vote. Okay, I do have one question. Ordinance 2022-7, establishment of the base salaries.
Could you say that again, Mayor?
2022-7, second reading. What's the guideline and what's the process for establishing the base salaries? And, you know, I see some differences from.
Yeah, so Roy's not here tonight, he had a previous engagement, but it's the same as it's been for the last 27 years that I've been here. Every year, they're reviewed, we try to include as many of the positions that the borough has, whether they're occupied or not. It's a review, something flushed out, if there's no longer an ordinance that has a specific position. The guidelines are established to the actual salaries that are in place currently, and there's a percentage given above and below that to establish the range. That's pretty much what we do. And the salary resolution is the specific salary which will be passed for 2022 that has not yet been done yet, so that has to be done by the end of the year. I think we'll have to get it in October.
Dick, let me ask a question that might straighten something out. These are ranges on this list, so
Yes.
they're not what they were to, when you say 50 to 100,
Yeah.
it's not going from 50.
No, it's a
I
range,
know,
it
you
could be
need to
50 or it could be 100, up to 100,
Okay,
anywhere
so I
in
didn't-
between.
I wanted to
Yeah,
be
it's an
sure.
established range, same as we've been doing for the last.
I have a question. We have 9 more jobs from
9 more
last year.
positions, but they're not
9,
filled,
yes,
correct,
9
yes.
more positions.
Yep.
That was increased from 2021. And do you think that we need 9 more
You
people?
can eliminate them. Those are positions that are by ordinance available. They've never been filled, or they haven't been filled in a long time. There is no intention on filling them. Obviously, you couldn't fill it this year, right, because they're not advertised. The salary ordinance is up for discussion. If you made the appointment, you would have had it done in January 1st. Obviously, this is month 9, it hasn't been done. So that's just a matter of housekeeping, to keep the names in those positions, but they're not filled, they're not looking to be filled, that I know of anyway. And those are the ranges,
So they're always there every year, right?
what we try to keep them up to date as much as
actually, it
possible.
was not.
Last year, they weren't in there. But they are, they
new
are
names of
positions that are
9
available,
more.
but they were never filled.
Right, so I was.
And I don't
They're
even know
not
how,
filled.
I don't even know how you can fill the line, because we don't have the money in the budget for it.
And also, Mayor, I have one more question about 2022, that's 244. It says the Borough of Palisades Park desires to advertise a request for qualifications for professional services for Borough for the calendar year 2023. And I just wanna know, like, what is the procedure of finding professional services so far?
So, the same as they've been done since I've been here, and people many years before me, it's an advertisement, a public bid,
Mhm.
that's posted in the paper.
Okay.
Anyone who has qualifications which the borough puts out can apply.
Right.
It's fair and open, and it complies to all the guidelines established by the state and the county and everything else.
And then, is there any committee that forms for?
So they are all
each-
presented, at the beginning of the year, like it was last year, and every year since I've been here, a list is compiled with all the names on it, and you guys vote on it.
I see, okay, but usually, I kind of felt this year, when I first saw all these professional services lists that we passed, you know, we've got, very many same names for many years.
Then you should voice your opinion, you have the right to review, voice an opinion, select, not to select, vote, it's the mayor's appointments.
So
It's
do
the
we,
mayor's
do we
appointments.
able to see all the lists?
You could vote,
Okay, and
review all
also,
the resumes, whatever comes in, I think they're due December, John, right, usually? Yeah.
so, when do they, apply, like?
Well, you can advertise it now, we're gonna put them out now, and they have to be established and ready to go, usually by the end of the year or the beginning of the year.
I see. Thank you so much. And, the 245, it says, mold remediation and water damage. So today, we're going to also, because open this for the public bidding, right? That's what's going on,
They'll be advertised.
This is for
public bidding.
advertising.
Yeah.
right? So-
You're approving for advertising of those three.
That's how we'll know roughly what estimate we would get from the advertisement for remediation of mold.
All right, and
You
then,
want that number.
actually, this will be deciding like which company to hire.
Well, you will,
That
the
will be
council will
given to
decide.
us.
Yeah,
You'll get the,
we'll
you'll
decide
get
yes
the
or no.
quotes.
Sure, okay.
And then the council will decide,
Thank you
although
so
you have
much.
to go with the lowest responsible bid.
That's right, I know that. Thank you.
Anyone
Nobody wanna look Somebody? Sorry. I need a second to open up the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone in the public would like to be heard, please? Yes.
Okay, Young Min Jung, 50 East Palisades Boulevard, as a qualification of President of Palisades Park Chamber of Commerce. Mayor and council, you know that are like twice a year. Usually just before the primary elections and just before the general elections, like that means June or end of the May, and also middle of the October, we just like Palisades Park Chamber of Commerce, we usually request for permit to have a street festival and sidewalk sale. So thank you so much for approved my request for this month, and then we're gonna have a like this October 20, 21, 22. But this year, I just like requested, also the Robert DeVito Communication Department permission to use a Borough sound system for outside when usually we have a closing performance, street performance. So like mic and mic stand and mixers and some chairs, like we just included. And also Borough's front yard space, some one or two just spots, probably you should allow us to use it as a part of the program. So I remind you, and my president of the Palisades Park, we, Chamber of Commerce, we are not a really just organized, and we need a more fund and organization as a manpower we need it. But it has been established in 1949, right? So like pretty old organization for Palisades Park and part of the Palisades Park. So mayor and council, you just support us. And sometimes, other issues, we request some regulations and sometimes deregulations. And most of all, we just like a promotion from mayor and council for especially 2 times of street festival and sidewalk sale. So my conclusion is, please support us more. And this time, I just put it in also about using permit to use a sound system of Borough. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Yes.
My name is Yuba Huanil. I live at 268 Highland Avenue. Regarding ordinance, second reading ordinance 2022-7, base salary. Why you have to, when I look at that details, some of the position is increased a lot. For example, council, currently council is paid between $5,000 through $9,000, right? Your salary is about $8,000. But now, with this new salary range, it's like $10,000 through $20,000. It's more than double. And also there is some other job also, like DPW managers. It's a more than 50% increase. And so I am actually very shocked. A lot of residents are suffering from the inflation after post-pandemic. This is not fair to the residents. I understand this is a range, but which means that you have a full intention to increase the salaries. And this is not fair to the residents. So that's number one. Second one is ordinance 2022-8. Is this a new, or is this has been there, but you just add additional penalty and so on? Because this is a register to all this owner which has a multiple rented out their houses. So so I wonder, this is a completely new, or it has been there, but I just didn't know, and there is some change.
Hi, good afternoon, or good evening, council members. This is 137 Morningside Lane, the Hamstone here. Just wanted to follow up previously before on what's going on with the front of the house. I know we had some people come over last week, or within the past month, but just seeing what next steps, a resolution we have to take in order to get that fixed in front of the house.
We're waiting for bids to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. And once
Is there like a time frame? I don't know how long that takes?
Everybody's busy trying to get people to respond, it's been a nightmare on everything, so, you know, as soon as we get it, we gotta follow the process, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, or unfortunately, other people, depending how you look at it.
Is there like when you want us to follow up with you?
But let me reassure you, BA, let me ask you a question. This is a deciding thing that we decided to fix, correct? And we're working on it, correct?
We're gonna try it.
Yeah, so we're definitely doing it.
Thank you. Thank
We're
you.
gonna work on it, keep you posted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Seong Kwon, 14 South Street.
I'm sorry, what is your address?
What did you say?
Address, I'm sorry.
14 3rd Street?
14 3rd Street?
Yes,
14 3rd Street?
14.
415.
Yes, you know? You know my house.
No, it's fine. It was 15 or so. I think you moved. You would have been here for a long time.
What did you say?
Don't worry about it, sir.
Resolution 245, 몰드 건에 대해서, somebody translation for favor, please. 이 245번, 요거에 뭐,
Regarding 245, regarding the mold,
예, 이 몰드 문제가 아마 불거진 지 몇 개월 된 것
I
같은데요.
think that it's been going on for a couple of months now.
이 문제가 제가 알기로는 전에도 이런 문제가 있었는데
As far as I'm concerned, I think this problem was, it's an existing problem some time ago.
이 문제는 습기가 차거나 비가 새서 그런 것이 주 원인입니다.
It's, the primary reason is either rain or some kind of moisture penetration.
그러면 제가 여기서 분명히 말씀드릴 것은
The thing I'd like to tell you is
이 비가 새거나 습기가 차는 문제를 이 건물을 관리하는 주체가 누구인지를 묻고 싶습니다.
I'd like to know who's in charge of the maintaining the building as far as checking out the moisture penetration or the rain.
그래서 누가 잘했고 잘못했고 떠나서
I'm not here to discuss whether somebody's doing a good job or bad job.
이런 문제가 생기기 전에 방지해야 되는 게 원칙입니다.
Before issues such as this arises, I think it's prudent to take preventive measures.
그리고 이 문제를 해결하기 위해서 많은 우리 세금이 지금 쓰여지고 있는데
To remediate the problem, I think there's a lot of tax money going into it.
그것을 지출하는 이 공직자들은 거기에 대한 그 책임이 없는 것 같습니다.
I think the people who's responsible for taking such action is not being responsible enough for it.
그리고 제가 여기서 말씀드릴 것은 그 원인을 분석해갖고 잘못된 것에 대한 책임 수리를 게을리했다든가.
I think what I want to mention is that we need to pinpoint whether there's a lack of maintenance done regarding this issue.
또 그 수리에 대한 책임의 소재를 분명히 가려가지고 그분이 책임을 지는 그러한 그게 형성이 되어야 됩니다.
Somebody needs to be responsible for what's been going on.
이 점에 대해서 우리 시의회 의원들과 시장님께서는 깊이 생각하셔서 그 책임의 한계를 분명히 해주시기를 청합니다.
I'd like to request Mayor and Mayor Council to
Can you summarize, because we have 3-minute regulations.
request to find the responsible party and make sure somebody's taking responsible for it.
그리고 두 번째,
Secondly,
작년
You're gonna have to wait to the next part of the meeting.
작년 9월달에 우리 유권자 협의회에서 이
Can
앞에
you ask him to
유권자 협의회
refrain from it for the next?
저기 다시 그 두 번째 질문은 다시 질문하실 기회가 있으시죠?
예, 알겠습니다.
Anyone else? Yes.
Suja, 237 East Central Boulevard. I just have a quick question, regarding what you say. Is that the time we just count 3 minutes, including translation? If somebody needs translation, can you make it a little longer? Like,
Well, it was 4.5.
consider it to.
It was actually 4.5.
I'm sorry?
It was actually 4.5.
Okay, so the concept 2.5 is the maximum?
Eripa Potter, 44 Glen Avenue. I have a question regarding to 22-7 and the base salary. I would like to know who is in charge to make that decision. And I would like to ask all the council members if you think that would be fair enough for our residents to do that at this moment when we're spending and the problem with the mall and we're spending money of the parking permit and we are spending and have so many spend that has been going on now for the resident and post the pandemic. Do you think that would be very fair for our resident to base the salary now? I think that would be not fair for us as a resident, with all the spend that we've been having and how the economic is hitting us after the pandemic. I think it should not be doing that. So I would like to know from the council, what do they think about that? If you think it's fair enough for the resident?
Well, after all the questions are asked and they close to the public, then the questions get answered.
Okay, I would like to hear from them, if they think it's a good idea to do that now.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Probably would be asked coming up today if my questions were answered in July and August. I've mentioned this many times about this policy, even though you answered this man's question at the time he asked it, which I think is a good thing, because then you at least get an answer, and if they have any questions, they could ask for clarification, all right? We have been told that you don't have to answer questions, but as a resident and a voter, I feel we are expecting to be answered and to be heard. So tonight, I'm gonna go back to July and August, and I'm gonna answer my own questions, because I've gotten phone calls, I've gotten emails, and I've spoken to people who gave me the answers. So I will answer myself, so you don't have to even answer me, all right? First thing, in July, I think it was July, they changed the parking, okay? And we went through so many changes. We first were told we're gonna pay all of this money, and then the next month we were told, oh, senior citizens and certain residents were gonna get discounts or not having to pay. And then Mr. Park and the other person who's never here anymore, they had the committee and you recommended that we do away with it. And then it was postponed because of Mrs. Pereira's request, and then we came back, I think in July, and it was back. I asked the question, why? No one answered me. Instead of just saying, we hired a company 2 years ago probably, but I'm not sure about that, and they won't give us our refund, so we have to abide by that contract. You let us hang. And all you had to do was say that, but you didn't. And it's upsetting to me that I couldn't get an answer when I asked that. And when I did ask it, I got an answer, all right, but I won't even go into that tonight. In the last meeting, I asked about the new position in the fire department, okay? I asked when and where was it posted? I was not answered because it wasn't posted. How many people applied or interviewed? One person was interviewed, and I questioned that. The salary, I had to wait to the end, and I had to yell, what about answering my questions? And I was given 2 answers. One, I was told 110, and then it was changed to 100. Whether it's 110 or whether it's 100, it's still a lot of money. 3 people voted. 1 said no, 2 said yes, and 1 recused himself. In my opinion, and I didn't know this until it was brought to my attention, Mr. Vitri should have recused himself because he's involved with the fire department and even in the police, and also I think there's some lawsuits being involved. So I think he should have recused himself. So obviously it would have been a 1-to-1, and the mayor, I guess, would have had to decide. I question that, all right? You claim you're concerned for the health conditions in the Borough Hall. Well, there is a reason to be concerned. There's mold, and mold is dangerous. I agree with that. But what about the morale of the policemen and the firemen who risk their lives every day? What about those firemen who don't get paid? Many people in both departments are quite upset with what has happened last month. And it's really, I'm not blaming the person who was hired, I'm blaming the people who are involved. even though charges weren't filed, that's what we were told. I know what the prosecutor recommended, and you didn't listen. So the message you're giving to policemen, firemen, and any worker in Palisades Park is, if you know the right people, if you get enough absentee ballots, no consequences will be suffered or given. And that is pretty sad. And as a taxpayer, I am angry and I am upset because you let it happen.
Anyone else? I see anyone else? Can I get a motion to close the public portion? Anyone wanna make a motion
I make
to
a
close?
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can answer first the question with respect to, the ordinance, which is 22-8. That is a new ordinance. The state legislature of New Jersey this year passed a new law requiring all municipalities to annually register all businesses and multiple family homes and have them verify that they're carrying homeowners insurance, liability insurance on their property. So that's a state law that the state has delegated to the municipalities to enforce. So it's new, came from the state, and we had to do it, there's a date that we had to implement it, which we're in that time frame, and it starts next year. I believe every February 1st, whoever owns a business or a multiple family home must register with the borough and provide verification of insurance. With respect to the salary ordinance, I believe there's still a misunderstanding. The salary ordinance is a range. That's not the salary. It's going to be somewhere in between the minimum salary and the top salary. The governing body, the people here, will decide what that salary will be. They'll pass a resolution, and just as you see the ordinance with all those titles, anybody getting a salary increase, there'll be a resolution, and it will set forth what the salary increase is.
There are two more questions, Mr. Scupino. The first one is from Young Min Jung, requesting the use of the sound system for the borough. I don't know if we have done that, and the reserving of several spots in front of the borough hall. So that's up to the council.
That's both those are decisions for the governing body, and since that was just brought up, Gina, we should remove 238 from the consent agenda because Councilwoman Chang has a conflict on that.
Oh, that was already.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's the one
sorry,
that was-
okay.
And then the only other question that has been answered was the responsibility of who was responsible for the maintenance of the building. There was a building manager, that position has never been filled since it's been vacated by Mr. Carnaval. With regard to the roof and the windows, those are items that the, Director of Public Works has had on and is given to the council for 2 years now. To be capital improvements, but the council never chose to do them, so it's an old roof and an old building, and that's probably the reason for the water infiltration at some point over the course of 20 years.
Yes.
Actually, for myself, as a council, I would like to suggest that for the salary guide, if that's possible, we could keep the lower bid for, just transferring from the last year. But the upper bid, it could probably go up because somebody, may need like, depends on the percentage, there will be some, increase because, of your working years, whatever the condition, but, I just wish, it could be just the lower end to keep because we were through the, COVID and pandemic and everything. I completely understand that how difficult every, household's financial suffering is added, so that's my wish.
We'll go right into the, regular meeting. This is the regular meeting of the mayor and council, and notice was given as follows. Notice was filed April 27th, 2022 with the record and the Oregon Ledger, both official newspapers of the borough. 2 2, notice was posted on the bulletin board, and 3 copies preserved in the clerk's office. Roll call, please.
Chang? Here. Kim?
Here.
Mr. Mayor, and will be absent from today's meeting.
Get a motion to accept these absence, please?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Park?
Yep.
Pereira? Here. Petrie? Petrie?
Yep.
Okay. For attorney?
Here.
For administrator? Okay, adoption of previous month's minutes.
Okay, may I please get a motion to accept these minutes from August 29th?
I wanna make a motion.
Yep. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Consent agenda items 236 through 245 with the exception of 238, which was moved to the all consent.
Okay, can I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda resolution minus 238?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Chang?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Pereira?
Yes.
Petrie?
I have a question for Mr. Shatina
Okay.
on resolutions 246, 247, 248.
We're not there yet.
So just from 236 to 245?
245 minus 238. Yep.
Yes? Okay. Moving on. Yes. Yes, we'll discuss 238.
Yes.
Councilman Kim?
I appreciate that, for the opportunity. There's certain questions I wanna ask, give the opportunity to the Chamber of Commerce, James. I'm glad that you're here, because we're always cooperative, non-philanthropic, not-for-profit, for the community organizations. Having said that, these are the questions I wanna ask before we further make a decision on this, okay? One is the Chamber of Commerce registered with the proper authority, like the state of New Jersey? If so, is it compliant and up to date with the state of New Jersey? And can you provide us with the proof of valid registration status? Number 2 question. The Chamber of Commerce in many towns, including ours, historically are known to be a non-for-profit 503c organization. Last time I remember your organization was non-for-profit. What is the current status of your organization? And 3, it's the last question, I'll try to make it simple as possible. Do you currently have a liability insurance for your street fair? To summarize everything that concerns with me through question 1 and 3, can you provide us with proper proof of verification, organization registration from the state of New Jersey, a proof of liability insurance for the event, and disclose what type of organization Chamber of Commerce is? Now let me tell you the reason why I'm up to this point, is that the elected officials have received a disturbing anonymous letter. It's an anonymous letter, which I won't like to talk about in detail, but I also have my own reasons to ask these questions concerning the proper finance management of the Chamber of Commerce for the income you receive from the street fair, including donations in the form of checks and even cash received during the event by you visiting many businesses abroad for cash donations, as well as to care for the safety of the residents and business in case of another liable accident occurred. Because I've heard a police report that there was damage, property damage, right? So that's very concerning. So I want to give you an opportunity. And if you don't have proof, I would like to recommend that, we table this for next month, because, it's a very important event, but we have to follow procedures.
So you allow me
Please.
to speak?
Yes, you're having an opportunity to explain these questions.
Okay, I'm 17th president, and I was the president, year of the 2017 and 18. And, next person was Thomas Park, he became a 16th president.
I don't need your history.
But this is related, this is related.
Can you let him finish, mister?
Because when you were Board of Education member, you were vice president of the
Again,
South
you're
City
talking
Park
about
Chamber of
history. I'm asking a
Commerce.
very simple question. Are you registered with the state of New Jersey?
Yes,
as a
we
Chamber
do
of
not have
Commerce?
it, and then we cannot have a bank account. Bank account, requires
The
about
question
like.
is yes or no, sir. It's very
Yeah,
simple.
yeah.
You have it, okay.
But hey, Paul Kim, councilman, we're not like arguing each other, right? So you asked me, and let me just answer my question. Let me ask my question.
You used the last time.
You're like, what, angry about something in the taping, just me up there, look at that, hey, Paul Lee. He was a good friend of mine. Anyway, it was established in 1949, and I am the 17th president, and I do not have any like, like member except myself. That's it. So like, you want me to just resign my position? That's okay. I don't want to do that. But okay, anyway, my answer is yes. This is New Jersey registered organization, but like, we do not have like. Continuous like any public positions about like executive director or anything, but like only just president.
Okay.
Yeah.
great.
So like, but my answer is yeah. This is a New Jersey registered organizations.
And it's valid. right
Yes,
now.
valid. That's why
Okay,
I have a bank account of the Bank of
Thank
America.
you. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh, yeah,
And I
that's it.
appreciate that, right?
That's it.
Yes or no would be great, And how about the other one? What kind of type of organization are you? A non-for-profit or for-profit?
I have to check it out and provide it. I don't know, but you want to just like, I want to check it out and provide it to you or mayor
You're the sole
council.
proprietor of the Chamber of Commerce.
Non-profit or
Well,
this
you
is
let him
not.
use a bomb then.
Is this personal or?
I don't know. This is not personal.
It look like.
Because we have to identify what kind of
Yeah,
organization you
this
are.
time,
Because
because
last
It
time
was
there
registered. I think when you check it out, you can just like you can just use your own just like research through online that Palisades Park Chamber of Commerce registered since 1949. You can check it out.
My question was,
Exactly
are you a
same thing.
non-for-profit or for-profit? Do you know or do you not know, sir?
Probably my knowledge right now. I don't know. I have to just check it
You
out.
have to check. Okay, so how about your liability issues? Do you have a liability?
I do
issues
not have
coming
it.
up?
I never have a 2017 and 18. I had like a 4 street festivals, and I never have ever
That's
had
fine,
like
that's
any
fine,
kind
but
of
the problem
insurance.
was occurred from
No, no,
the
no, I didn't
springtime,
have it, yeah.
right?
But you
Because
require
there was
after
a
the-
police report saying that there was property damage. When there's a person said that, could you
One
read
thing I
this
have to
for
say
property
that
damage?
that
You did
thing
not comply.
happened, property
So my
damage,
question
I
is-
understand, but like your campaign manager told me his car was damaged because like a gust of the wind, flew the, canopy. And he asked me for, compensation, I understand. But at that time, your campaign manager, Paul Lee, who's filming me, he said at that time, he asked me about a liability insurance, right? That was the truth, that's correct. That's correct, he asked me, but at that time, he just like,
Mr. Jones, hold on, please, can I just,
Yeah, I know.
make a suggestion? First,
That's
Gary,
it,
did
because working is
they
running
submit an
around.
application to the town?
I don't know, I didn't get one.
Did she get an application? You
What?
sent it?
All right, so let me say this, why don't we do this?
Answer.
Why don't you put those questions in writing, send an application to the, I'm sorry,
Young Min Jung.
send them the application with the questions that Paul asked, and ask him to submit it. When is this event?
This is like now, so we have to table it if it doesn't have.
October
When's
20,
the event?
20, October 20, 21st, 20, 21st, 22.
Good, you still have time.
We have to vote. So
But I-
you'll have to have a special, if you feel that all the conditions have been met, you're gonna have to have a special meeting to approve it.
And like
Which you can do.
Chamber of Commerce, because you know that we're gonna do
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. I want.
I don't think you can get all your answers tonight,
No,
so.
I know, those are the questions that you wanna bring us.
One thing, let me say this one thing was very clear. At the time, primary elections, and I asked both of Democrat candidate for mayor. At that time, I asked to register to Palisades Park Chamber of Commerce, and your campaign manager said, we have a freedom to have canopy any spot, anywhere we want. So that was happened, and then Palisades Park, Palisades Park, Democratic Club, we didn't have any my permission, so open up the canopy there, then it happened about an accident.
Mr. Jones, hold on one second.
Any
Let me just
organization.
say one more thing and I'm done, okay? You're telling me that you're the only person in the Chamber of Commerce that
Yes.
handles everything. There's no check and balance on you.
Yeah, right.
You don't know what happened to the cash receipts that you got at donations.
You can
It's
check
all
it
by
out.
yourself.
Are you
That's what
attacking
you
me
know.
now? Like, Sit down, don't answer him. This is
Any
something.
He was a vice president when he was a Board of Education member. Oh,
Yes.
Somebody that's part of the government, any outside organization should submit an application together with the requirements that the applicant, which is just usually isn't too much, but typically, the requirements are to, have insurance if they're using public property, and then have, if they need police personnel, that they pay for the police personnel. Now, of course, the council can waive requirements, but that's what's typically required.
There was a police report with, property damage. I wanna see the insurance. I wanna see the
Property
liability.
damage was a police car. You know that police car, your
So,
campaign
what-
manager's
what
car.
insurance that you need?
Didn't register to Palisades Park Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, so if you don't have a form application, I can probably get one.
Yes, yes, that would be helpful.
No, if you don't have a form application, then a letter request is acceptable. But again, typically, municipalities, in fact, our insurance carrier would probably also, not only a certificate of insurance naming us as an additional insurer, but a hold harmless, that anything happens, they're responsible. And, again, if the police department typically reviews the request to determine if police personnel are going to be necessary to work the event, and then whatever that cost is, if there's a cost, typically the cost is passed on to the organization.
And again, let's table, I recommend if he doesn't have enough information, we'll table this until next month meeting. I wanna give him the opportunity, that's all.
Well, again, you'll have to have a special meeting, because if the event is prior to your next meeting.
Which you can do, call a special.
Yeah.
So is the motion to
So,
table?
motion, I would like to make a motion to table, could I have a second, please? Second. Call for vote?
Jay?
No, she has refused.
Ken?
Yes.
This is yes to table.
Yes.
Park? Park?
No.
No table?
No to table. Okay. Farah?
I think we need the insurance certificate.
No.
Yes
Good
to
idea.
table. And that was a yes, right? Okay. Petrie?
Yes.
Okay. Tabled.
Of course, table. Oh my God.
Okay, so resolution 238 has been tabled for the record.
And I have another question, I'm so sorry. Resolution 2020-247, should I wait until that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to 246.
246.
Again, at the present time, any matter involving the police department, it's my opinion and recommendation that Councilwoman Pereira and Councilman Vici recuse themselves. I realize these are benign resolutions, but that's the way the cases read.
So may I please have a motion to adopt off consent agenda resolution 2022-246. Authorization of Council Court Police Department to provide support shirts for sale to the public.
I want to make a motion for that.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call please.
Chang?
Yes?
Kim?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Farah? Petrie?
On the advice of the borough attorney at this time, I recuse myself.
Okay. So noted.
Well said.
Consent agenda 247. Councilwoman Chang, you
Yeah, I have a question. Found property fund, a new, bank account, is going to be, opened, and what is found property funds exactly? I really don't have any idea.
The officer in charge is here. You can ask-
Captain Espino, are you here?
I was unaware to be put on the agenda, so I didn't answer that question.
My balance property.
The police department asked for a special fund to be opened for monies and things that are found so that they can be held in lieu of finding out who it belongs to, and at the end of the year, if they can't find it, then that account is turned over to the borough. There was never an account established before, so the police department asked for it to be established.
So that's the one they actually find money?
Trying to find money while it's cashed.
Personal
Segregated from other municipal funds.
No, what happens with personal belongings? What happens with personal belongings that has value?
Physical, tangible property is different. This is just a segregated cash and stuff, so it's not commingled with other municipal funds, to keep it segregated. It's easier to track.
They certain amount of time if someone comes to look for it. It has to be.
The Does that satisfy your question?
Because you're not supposed to participate.
Yes,
in
so do we
discussion.
have any time, frame that, like, wait until someone comes to look for it? Like after 1 year or, you know, year and a half?
That I don't know.
Nobody comes for claiming it, then it goes to the fund, I don't know.
Is that timeframe set by us? Or is that by
It's probably sometime.
Unclaimed property, yeah, there's probably a statute on unclaimed property.
The Attorney General's guidelines, I'm sure.
I think you gotta put a notice in the paper.
I see that.
What's the question?
Unclaimed property.
What's
there's
the
states-
timeframe, like?
That's to be determined by the police, I would assume 12 months.
90 days. And is there a requirement that you advertise before you deem it abandoned? In other words, put a notice in the news, you get a notice in the newspaper saying this is unclaimed property?
If they don't come in and claim it, whoever the person that brought it in, then they're entitled to 90 days.
Thank you.
Is that,
Thank you so
90
much.
days. That's
yeah,
90 days.
are you referring to, is there a state statute on that, that the own police department's own? This is state statute?
There is a state statute on that.
Okay.
They're all saying yes.
Now, the
Thank
police
you.
can't be involved in it. If I found it or a police officer finds it, they're not entitled to it. If a civilian finds it, they're entitled to it if they don't pick it up within 90 days.
This is only pertaining to cash, correct?
No,
You
it's
know,
personal.
the incident that we had.
So why
yeah,
don't you
they
guys
said
tell
so
us
it's-
about what happened to personal property instead of cash? That's what I'm curious.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't
I'm
know
just
about
talking about the cash end of it.
She's never had a cash account to segregate it from other, so not to commingle with other funds. To keep it separate. It'll be easier to track.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So can I get a motion to adopt the all consent agenda resolution 2022-247?
I want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Roll call.
Chang?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Hart? Pereira? Thank you. Petrie?
I recuse myself.
Okay. Moving on, 248.
Can I get a motion to adopt the all consent agenda resolution 2022-248? Authorization to rename police department bank account from National Night Out to the community policing.
Is there any reason changing the name?
I have any questions, Joe?
Well, it was National Night Out, it was just used for National Night Out, we have that once a year, they still that. What we're doing is we're gearing towards more community policing, so community policing, that can be used for all different type of functions, like coffee with a cop, or anything that we do with community, involve the community, we can use those funds for that. But National Night Out is just National Night Out.
Something for you to include. Thank you.
What's community policing? Like, you're gonna use it for community policing? Or?
But things that we have that policing, coffee with a cop, or, you know, community day, we wanna do, police, you know, community, we wanna talk about safety issues.
Do you guys not have enough funds for that in your budget?
We're supposed to get, I believe, what we used to get, if correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was, $2,500 a year for that, but I don't know if that's still in place, well, last I heard it wasn't. So, I could be wrong, but that's the last I know.
I think it was cut out this year's
I think
budget.
it was cut out too.
Everything else is cut
I
out.
think it was gone.
Would that affect our
I
national
remember
night
it
out?
from the
Cause it's
budget. I think
actually
it was gone.
becoming better and better each year.
It's more effective because right now we have certain sponsors who are being terrific, and every year they know when the time comes around that we don't even have to come to them, they pretty much come to us and say, here's our donation, we know it's coming around.
So you have enough funds to do national night out?
Right.
Good, thank you.
So we have a motion on the table. You would like to,
Oh, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Me.
no, not yet.
Anyone second?
Oh, she made the motion?
Okay.
Can I get a second on that, please? No? Shut your account.
Well, we only have two options. Mr. Paul or Mr. Paul.
Okay.
What do you got, second,
Okay.
something or not?
OIC says it's not gonna matter the national night out, so I'll make a second.
Roll call, please.
Chang?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Hart? Pereira?
Recuse.
Petrie?
I mean, if I should borrow this present funds, I recuse myself.
So noted. 249.
Night out. Motion to adopt all consent agenda resolution accepting resignation as a DPW worker.
Yeah.
That's what the reasons.
I'll make a motion.
Night out.
Second.
Community Board Service.
Roll call?
Jane?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Park? Farah? Petrie?
Yes.
Second reading, public hearing, ordinance 2022-6, amendment of chapter 58 entitled Police Department.
Okay, can I get a motion to open?
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
also, I would recommend that Councilman Pereira and Councilman Petrie not participate with respect to the adoption of this ordinance.